I hope you're at least okay. Today is a Friday, and it's a Friday, Andrew. And oh my god, I made people fucking mad on TikTok. Again. Again. I don't know, I'm really good at, like, making people frustrated, but I did get one guy to come around, so I'm proud of myself. It's okay. It's okay. It's just gonna be a shit show for a while, but I live with that. I have no shame, baby. And oh my god, someone reposted one of my videos and it was like a hate thing, and I was like, oh, iconic, thank you. I feel like I made it. They were like, she's so horrible or whatever, and I was like, oh, literally, don't flatter me more. God, you're just gonna make me feel so proud of myself. Actually, that feels really nice, though. I don't mind, though. Such is life. People will come around eventually. They'll be like, oh, wow, that is actually a good idea. I'll be like, yeah. Yeah, it's usually how it goes. Hi, Oliver. Hi, Stinky Butt. Hi, Stinky Butt. Yeah. Call my dog Stinky Butt because for a while he farted all the time. He's a lot better now, but the name's kind of stuck, so I'm like, Stinky Butt. I'm so proud of myself, though. That's like a pivotal moment for a lot of creators where someone like finally hates on them and it's just like, ah, yes. Hi, George. I was worried about you yesterday. I'm glad you're back. Well, I was like, oh, is he okay? I hope all is well. I was like halfway through and I was like, it's so quiet here. George is gone. What did I do? Oh, I was just talking about like gun control and people get mad about that on Charlie Kirk, and I was like, sorry, I don't really feel that bad. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and cry like that one lefty content creator who like debated him on Jubilee. It's just because to me, he's a horrible person. So I was like, yeah. I didn't get home till later last night. That's okay. That's okay. I was just worried. No problems. I was like, if he doesn't like show up today or the next couple of days, I'm really gonna be worried. But you have your own life and stuff, so it's fine. But yeah. So people are mad about that, and I had like well, technically, I had like a video that I don't know. Basically, I reformatted a video, and people were like, "Oh my god, blah blah blah," and I was like, no, there's like more nuance to it, so I'm just gonna add to it. And then they were so mad. It was so funny, and I was like, oh, like I literally commented. I was like, oh, my first hate repost. Oh my god, I love this. My heart's so happy. That means I'm doing something right, baby. Ah, man. Anyways, I'm not trying to give it like unnecessary attention or whatever. I don't know. That's like I feel like when you do content creation for as long as I have, like 2 years, eventually someone gets super pissy about what you've done or like what you said or whatever, and they'll find some reason to be mad at you, even though you're entitled to your own opinion or whatever. And then I was just like, dang, today's the day, I guess, over something I never really get a ton of engagement about. But now I guess I do, so because apparently gun control is a very taboo and controversial topic. Even though almost every single conservative I talk to about gun control and the ideas that I have about gun control, they're like, oh, that's not bad. And I'm like, yeah, regulation's important. But I don't know, it's just, yeah, it's just how it is. A gun is not a shield. So, anyways, sorry to like unload that on you. I'm just stoked. That's like, yes, I feel like I've made it. So what's your take on gun control? Oh my goodness. Let's bait. I gotta like upload the title. It baits people so much. I have a list. I'm not gonna go over the entire list because I've literally talked about this so many times, but I made a list for my TikTok so I could be like, look, I have a list. Basically, my first gun was when I was 16. Yeah, the first time I shot like a gun was when I was like, I don't know, I think I was like 6. Something. I was really young when I first started shooting because I had like family that lived on a farm and stuff. So for me, I'm like, I grew up around it. I didn't really enjoy it a lot because I like my first time shooting. I've talked about this before. One of the first times I was shooting, my grandpa, he would sit on his back porch and he would shoot crows and like bunnies and stuff. And I hit a bird and I cried a lot because I had like a bird named Lovey. It was like really traumatic for me. So I was like, ah. And then like I also hit a bunny one time too, and that was like it for me because I couldn't handle it. But I've been on hunting trips. I've shot rifles, handguns, pistols, old revolvers. I think revolvers are really cool. Um, I don't know. I've shot antique weapons, and I've shot a musket before. I've shot a cannon. Like I grew up around a lot of that. Am I like super into guns all the time? No. Like it's not like my hobby or whatever, but I've handled lots of weapons and I understand how severe they can be. And yeah, it's just kind of like how it is. George says I started shooting way earlier than that. That's when I bought my first gun. Yeah. Now, like here's my proposition, which I've talked about many times. But requiring yearly mental health screenings / renewals for gun permits. Yeah, having have people get first aid training for gun wounds as part of permit process. So like if someone, I've talked about this before, it's literally, yeah, like that just makes sense to me. Like if you're going to have a weapon and you're going to misfire or something and harm someone, you should be prepared to help the person if that happens. And that's not even talking about like intentionally doing something, you know? It's just like it's to prep for in case something happens. Database of gun owners permits that comply to federal standards. Education on lead safety and how to dispose of casings and gun properly, because people don't understand. Or George says, I have 4 revolvers. They're my favorite. Yeah, they're really cool. I think they're cool too. The mechanism and how they work is really interesting to me. I think it was the P32s or whatever, P320s or something like that. The ones that they were like the most popular gun for a really long time. And we talked about that a couple weeks back. It's not a revolver, but that was the one that would just like shoot off on its own. And sometimes stuff like that happens and people get really hurt, but they don't know how to handle it, and then people die for no reason. Which is why I'm a really big. This is like where I get a ton of conservatives being like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. And it's a deterrent for people who try to do negative things because they're forced to deal with what could potentially be the repercussions of it. That's a better deterrent than just saying someone's going to go to jail for life, because at that point, people usually don't care. Having people physically do something actually engages more empathy processing than not. That's just how psychology works. Anyways, lead safety is really important, especially with casings and shooting firearms as a whole. People don't understand that when you shoot, there is tons of lead debris that gets everywhere. And it becomes like basically a hazardous zone. And if people don't wear gloves or don't like change clothes and stuff like that, they could accidentally ingest lead, or if they have children that they're shooting with, or like they're going back home to their kids afterwards and they don't change or clean up, they could be getting lead on their children, which prolonged exposure to that it's a neurotoxin and it causes brain damage, which is something like every time I've gone out shooting, I've always worn gloves ever since like I understood this when I was in high school. I like started wearing gloves, and my grandfather taught me to wear gloves and like wear long sleeves when I was shooting and change afterwards because of lead, because you get a lot of like lead on you. It's just everywhere. Some people even go to the extent of wearing like a mask when they shoot so they don't inhale it, because you can inhale it. It's just a lot of stuff, especially if you're shooting something that's like closer to like a rifle or something like that, you know, where you have it like up against you and it could potentially spray back in your face more. So that's like something that I know a ton of people are not educated on. And if they did understand that, I know that they wouldn't be doing things willy nilly like they are, and they wouldn't be littering as much. IMO. Um, Requiring gun ranges and distributors to be nonpartisan and removing influence of American politics. So making it so that they, because it's a protected under the Second Amendment, uh, people, it should be a nonpartisan thing. Like you shouldn't be allowed to lobby to certain political parties and stuff like that and do anything like that because it's already protected. Like it doesn't make sense to me. Like churches are protected, like freedom of religion and stuff like that is protected. And because of that, they don't have to pay like taxes and that sort of thing. There's a whole thing that goes into it, but they're not really allowed to lobby. You can have institutions that can, but if you are an institution that sells weaponry, you should not be allowed to do that, in my personal opinion, or promote like a specific political candidate. But people don't talk about that, so but that's how it should be, in my opinion. Regulation on how guns should be stored too. So like if you have weaponry where like I don't know, you just have it like out in the open or whatever, and someone takes your weapon, you should be liable for that. And that is the case in some states where like if a parent isn't properly storing their weapons or guns or whatever and their child harms someone like in a shooting setting or like there's a mass casualty event with their weapon because they weren't securing it properly, they're held liable for it, or at least partially liable. And all of this stuff, like if you talk to people who have guns and stuff, they agree with this. Like I live in a red state and I haven't met a single person who doesn't agree with any of this stuff. And all of this is technically gun control measures and would help fix the situation. But we haven't had a bill or anything super similar to this actually be proposed, because a lot of people are like, oh, take away guns or whatever, but that doesn't really work because people get really locked in their head about it. You have to start here if you want to know what's going to happen. And I don't know, this technically, I don't know, I'm not going to dive really deep into it, but that stuff's really important to me because I don't know, I've met people who haven't been very appropriate with weapons before, and I've had friends pass away due to gun violence and stuff. So for me personally, I don't know. I try not to get like insanely caught in the mix with it, but that's what I feel. That's how I feel about it. And people get really mad until they hear that, and then they're like, "Oh, okay." All my guns are locked away in a safe except for one. You also don't live with a lot of other people, from my understanding. And you can have like protected lock boxes and stuff like that. Like it just there's there's like a lot of things that you can do. Sorry, I keep like pausing because I'm trying to compose my thoughts with this. But there's a lot of things that you can do about it to protect yourself and the people around you. But people don't even understand half the risks of guns, and they always focus on like how people can like die and stuff. But if you address these things first, it would help resolve a lot of the problems. Because people would be forced to actively engage with stuff and view it as more than just like, oh, it's a cool thing that you go out and shoot like stuff with your friends. Because there's so much more that goes into it, and people just don't get that when it comes to manufacturing processes and like literally. Oh my god, where's my chapstick? No, the list goes on and on though. Oh, I found it. It's good. just me and I'm the only one who knows where it is. Yeah. Like, it becomes different when you have kids and stuff like that. So, personally, I think that education is really important about it, and people are not educated about it whatsoever. And they make really bad decisions, and people are always like mental health, or whatever, but there's no precautions to address the mental health problem. So, and we don't even know, like, with the dude who shot Kirk or whatever, we don't even know who, like, what his incentive was, like, who motivated him to do it, what motivated him to do it. There's no, like, manifesto to anyone's knowledge, unless he speaks out about it, which then maybe we'll know more about what happened, but it's just, like, you know, sometimes people, I mean, he was highly educated. Like, his dad was a cop or whatever. He grew up, like, a Mormon or something like that. Like, I mean, that's not super, like, but sometimes people crack under situations and circumstances like that. So, George says, I know it's put away when kids come visit. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But not everyone takes that responsibility. Like, my grandfather, he, uh, he would not put weapons away when the children were around or children came to visit. And it was a big point of contention when I would have, like, visitation stuff with my mom, who uh, was like, I would visit them at my grandparents' house sometimes. So, and we'd have lots of family events there. Uh, he had things like grenades and all that sort of thing, like, which they had to make sure were completely decommissioned. But when I was a kid, there was still, it was like live. And then they were like doing, like, part of the court case or whatever, they'd have to go to all the residences I'd be at all the time. And my grandpa just had rifles, just like hanging there where any kid could just like pull up a chair and like grab it and take it down and stuff like that. And that was a really big problem with, obviously safety and stuff. So there's like, yeah, it's crazy. In my state, we took gun safety in high school. Yeah. Here in Nebraska, we do have, I think some schools may have something to do with that, maybe like small schools in smaller cities or whatever. But in the larger cities, most of the gun safety that is taught is if you're on the trap team. So, like, they throw like clay birds into the air and you shoot those. They'll, like, it's a very expensive sport, so technically you have to have money usually to participate in it, but they do teach gun safety in that way. But yeah, I learned about it because my family hunted. Um, like I said, my grandpa, ex-military and stuff like that, like very militaristic, like, vibes. He was very on, like, people's ass, for lack of better terms, about everything. He was very routine focused. Everything had to be clean, had to have food at a certain time, had to be, like, yeah, very organized and detailed. And he wasn't like that until, like, after his military experience and stuff. George says, I go sport clay shooting a lot. Oh, that's actually kind of wild. I never really, like, I can shoot and I'm an okay shot. I could get better if I really practiced, but it's something that, like, the risk isn't really worth the reward because of the lead stuff. Like, I don't want to have that much exposure to lead. Also, Ollie says hi. And Siri also, wait, Siri says hi too. But yeah. It's really interesting. Some people are really into it, and some people aren't. They're saying hi, yeah. But people get really confused about it because they always think that people on the left just want to, like, remove guns as a whole. But that's actually what more conservatives say because they're not understanding the policies and stuff that a lot of people are trying to push. They just don't. Like, it can be a sport. But people also don't, like, when it comes to hunting and stuff like that, people don't understand that weapons that people use for hunting are designed to kill, or, like, kill animals that are almost triple your size sometimes. So I feel like that should be more heavily regulated than it is right now. You do have to get like your hunting license and stuff, but you don't have to get a hunting license or a special license to get like a hunting rifle. Like I could go to a Walmart and buy that stuff like right now, or I could go to an auction and buy any weapon and have that like barely be traceable back to me. Let's see, George said I was just actually looking for a holster for my Red Hawk yesterday. I don't know much about gun names and stuff. I can disassemble most guns and clean them. Although I get really anxious about it because it is like a live weapon and I have seen them like misfire before. And that stresses me out. So I just always had other people clean them for me. I can do it, but it's not something I enjoy because it stresses me out. It's literally like a weapon that can harm someone severely. It was a Ruger revolver. Oh, okay, okay. That makes sense. Did you like the revolvers too? Yeah. I don't know. That's just my opinion on gun stuff. And that's also because I grew up in a red state. Like, my family did a lot of hunting, they did a lot of that stuff. And most people, like, they demonize it because they don't always understand. But also, someone, like, I have had friends who have passed away due to gun violence and have had that, like, seen the direct impact of that. And that has affected me. Like, it literally has. Like, having people, like, try to rob you and then pull a gun on you and stuff like that. That is something that I experienced at one of my jobs. And it wasn't like the pressure was more like on my manager than it was on me. So I wasn't as concerned, but there was a lot of pressure. And this is like all coming from that perspective. Not me trying to be like, oh, you know, blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's stuff I have personally dealt with and I've seen a lot of the consequences for. And hopefully, I do not have to like see that stuff again. But also, because I've been around so much, like, I've been around some incidences like that. Not a ton compared to other people, obviously, but like I've been around some. I don't have like I'm a bit more desensitized to it than some other people are. And that's just a whole nother like conversation. Which is why this whole Charlie Kirk thing, I'm just sitting here and I'm like, I don't really feel like for him. Like, I cried when I watched the footage of what happened to him, but not because it's him, because it's like someone dying. You know, like that's a horrible, horrific thing to see. And I know someone who's passed away in a similar fashion, so it's hard for me to watch because of that. But I don't have empathy for who he is as a person or who he was as a person. And some people get that, but some people don't. And that's just how it is. But yeah, George says your ideas sound very reasonable to me. Exactly, exactly. But people, you know, like it's something where people just don't understand, and it's really hard to get people to try to pass legislation for it or like make those changes because of a lot of lobbying that happens, and it's a very big money producer for a lot of politicians. They get a ton of money from um, I think it's like the NRA, National Rifle Association. Yeah, but they have like 5 million members or whatever, and they make like a shit ton of fucking money. And President Trump signs the one big beautiful bill into action or whatever. Like that's the first thing that they have on their website. You know, that's like the first thing that they have there, which is something that I personally think should like. Okay, let's see. Does the NRA sell guns? So they don't sell any weapons or whatever. Okay. And they shouldn't be like collaborating with companies that do sell weapons either or taking funds from companies that sell weapons. But that also gets into like really complicated grounds and like legalese. Not going to dive super deep into it because it's really complicated, but it is important to state that certain types of nonprofits do not have to disclose their bigger donors. So they could technically get it from larger corporations if they are a specific type of nonprofit, which is how a lot of presidents or celebrities and that sort of thing can get money into their pocket from like their friends. Is how like celebrity endorsements that they shouldn't really be getting, or politicians getting endorsements from private companies who technically shouldn't be able to give them money, but they still can, or like uh, foreign investments, like maybe some random country giving Trump or like Nancy Pelosi money or whatever through like a shell nonprofit kind of company situation. There's lots of different ways where people can bypass that. And obviously, because of its nature, there's not a ton of incentive for people in Congress to really pass any legislation to regulate that, at least not right now. But yeah, George says nobody should die for just talking about their ideas. Yeah, but people also, like, I'm not going to say that, I'm not saying that he should have died in that situation. That's something I've never said. But I also don't mourn him dying because, especially in the way that he went, because of how he literally said multiple times that he thinks that public execution should exist and that they should be televised and they should force children to watch. So him going that way, I don't know. It's kind of ironic to me. I'm not like joking about it or trying to poke fun at it or whatever, anything like that. I don't think that's appropriate, but I am going to say that I do not mourn him. Randall, sorry, it's a heated conversation, Randall. Hi. We're talking about guns in America. Wait, are you the one that's from Florida? George says, agree. Foreign countries should be banned from giving to our politicians. But there are, like I said before, there are legal loopholes that allow for that to happen. And you can also fund nonprofit organizations or companies like the NRA illegally or whatever if you do pass restrictions. So there's other loopholes that would need to be addressed within our legislative like foundation in order to make a lot of the regulations that I believe need to happen plausible. But yeah, that's a whole different thing. Randall says yes, Florida. Yay! Hi, Randall. I feel like I should go get candy, but we're not gaming today. What's your opinion on what's going on, Randall? What do you think? Not trying to put you on the spot too much, but I want to know. What do you think? What do you think? 30 minutes in, baby. I want to know. Wait, were you born and raised in Florida? Actually, that's a whole nother question. I don't want to like put too much pressure on you. I'll chill. I got a cake and ice cream for my Australian friend's birthday today. Hell yeah. No gun control conversation. You're from Florida. I'm very curious. But also, happy birthday to your friend. You're born and raised in Michigan. Ah, interesting. Oh yeah. There's a lot of stuff happening in Florida as of late. How do you feel about, you don't have to answer this question if you don't want to. You could just like say pass or whatever. Same with like the gun control thing. But how do you feel about the vaccine thing that's been happening in Florida? Because Illinois has passed a counter regulation when it comes to vaccine mandates. Florida stated that no one is required to have a vaccine in order to go to public schools in the system, generally speaking. Illinois has passed some legislation that states that vaccines must be available towards all citizens within the state, and they can't be like Like, they should be available in the standards that they were prior, for the most part. George says, hey, I lived in Michigan for 2 years back in the 90s. Hey! Maybe you guys met and you don't even know it. You also don't have to tell me, like, where you lived, yo. It's so satisfying. Sometimes when I'm just sitting here, I'll, like, fiddle with this. I'll be like, but I like to use the bottom because I'm like really bad at like opening it. I don't want to do it because I'm like afraid. But I can't get it all the way. And it's paper too. It's not like my good cloth ones I keep in my bags for when it's hot outside. I have like ones that have like not silk. It's like polyester, but it's made to look like silk, and they're green. And I use them for when it's really hot. And I just keep these in my home because they're paper. Oh my gosh, the lighting is like really rough on it. But I want to paint them eventually. Randall says, as for what I think, for what's going on, I think that what happened is sad. A hypocrite doing bad things to prove a point does the opposite. Oh, George says I mailed a letter coming your way. Ah, thank you. I still have to bake something for the post office, which is why I haven't gone yet. I have like other packages. Like technically, I have my school book in there, which is late. It's like a month late. Oh well. It's only made it hard for me to get a good grade in my class. Anyways, yeah. But we don't even know if he was a lefty, though. That's the thing. I don't think there's been any information that has confirmed his political ideology. I think he was conservative. His dad was a cop. He was born and raised a Mormon, very religious household in a religious area. And yeah, I haven't seen a lot of anything about him actually being like a lefty. And most of the stuff that he was like, you know, talking about or whatever was like gamer memes. It literally said ooh woo. Like ooh woo, ooh woo. You know, like it literally said that on the casing, which is wild. And then what was the other one? There was like a gaming sequence thing, like up down something or whatever, which is from a video game. I can't remember which one that is. Uh, like it's fucking wild. We can also talk about what happened with the UN today later too, if you want to. I didn't get to watch the whole thing, mainly because every country has pretty much already made a statement on it, so it's not as helpful to watch the whole briefing because it's just more formal statements in a more public setting. Randall says, as for gun laws, I think it will change nothing long term. Criminals will always find a way. The only difference is we will be unable to protect ourselves. Can you explain to me how you think a gun can be utilized as a shield? This isn't me, because I've never understood that argument, and that's not like me trying to be an asshole. It's just me not really understanding your angle that you're coming from. Like, how is a weapon going to be a shield? Because fucking Kirk was scoped out from like almost 200 yards away. There was no way a gun would have been helpful for him in that situation. So, like, can you explain to me how guns would be helpful in the situation of what happened in Utah? Because technically, I believe that Utah has like, I think Philip DeFranco talked about this in one of his shows recently. Just so you guys know where I'm getting some of this information. But to my understanding, Utah has legislation that allows students to carry on campuses. Like, let me look this up. And students, oh my gosh, why is my keyboard not working? And students carry on campus, Utah. Open carry is legal on Utah college campuses. Yeah. The Salt Lake Tribune had an article on it. Here it is, if you want to reference it. The state is among the most permissive in the country with firearms, including college campuses, says Clark Apachian, the chair of the Utah Shooting Sports Council. It is legal to open carry a gun on Utah's public university and college campuses with very few exceptions. In fact, a national firearm lobbyist and chair of the Utah Shooting Sports Council, Clark Aposhian, stated that the state is possibly the most permissive in the country when it comes to guns and what few laws restrict them, including higher educational spaces. It's never, quote, it's never been against the law here to lawfully possess a firearm on a college campus, he stated. It's unknown if the shooter who fatally fired the conservative commentator Charlie Kirk at Utah Valley University in Orem on Wednesday afternoon was openly carrying or had a concealed weapon, but both are technically allowed. State and school officials have said a single shot was fired from a nearby rooftop in what appears to be a targeted attack. Yeah, are background checks required to purchase a gun? If a person who has a concealed weapons permit can skip the $750 background check fee when purchasing a firearm from a federally licensed dealer, the check, though, is not required for private sellers. That is true in most states. Yeah. Utah allows residents over the age of 21 to obtain a permit to carry a concealed gun. I could probably show you guys this, but it'll show like my email, so that's why I'm not showing you guys. I have to log out, baby. The state also has provisional permits for those 18 to 20 years old, the typical age of college student. To get a permit, applicants must pass a background check, and this is only for conceal and carry stuff. Oh man, I get to ban someone again. Good for them. All right. What in a background check would bar someone from getting a permit or purchasing a weapon in Utah? I'm not going to dive super deep into this, but this is the last one. Having a felony, having an indictment for a felony, not yet gone to court, or warrants, using illicit drugs, but you're not going to get tested in order to get the permit. Having been educated as mentally defective, or having been committed to a mental institution, so you have to be committed, or have like a mental health disability that causes you to not have to work, they usually won't give you a weapon then. Being unable to prove Utah residency and not being a citizen of the United States, and being dishonorably discharged from the military. Yeah. Let's see. Randall says, it's more like if you're going to die and have a chance to fight back or on even ground, you should. What happened to Charlie is not a situation that applies in that case, though. Where it does apply is if people break into your house looking to kill you and your family, or when you're being mugged or defending from an invading force. Yeah, but that's like not, that doesn't really have a lot to do with like carrying in public or whatever. I'm talking more about that stuff right now. Because people will do whatever, like there's home defense laws in most states that allow for you to protect yourself with the materials that you have if someone is intruding. And I think in Atlanta, I think it was 2 weeks ago, or a week ago or something like that, there was someone who was shot because they were going into their own home and their relative didn't recognize that they were going to be home that early and they shot him. Let's see. Atlanta. Home shooting. Kid coming home. Yeah. This was a week ago. Here you go. That's called Castle Doctrine. Yeah. We could watch this video if you want to, but it's not super relevant. It's just me trying to like give you sources for what I'm talking about. But yeah, that happened like a week ago. And that happens more and more often than you'd think. Like, sometimes having weapons escalates things more. So if you have someone that you know is going to be armed, and they like, I don't know. I think having people regularly armed means that people like police forces and stuff like that have to be, in order to feel like they have more control over a situation where they can make people safer, they feel that they need to escalate things further because they don't know if people have guns or whatever. And if you can assume that people will not have a weapon like that, then the overall amount of force that they will utilize is a lot less. So when the one side gets more, the other side tries to get more, and so on and so forth. Which is why we have such a big problem here in the United States with gun violence, because people get afraid, they assume everyone around them has a gun, so they get a gun. And then people who do have ill intentions assume that everyone around them has a gun and is trying to protect themselves, so they get worse weaponry. They start doing scatter bullets and that sort of thing, which you can literally make your own bullets. Like, it's crazy, but you actually can make your own bullets that can have more of a like a spray, or you can get specialized bullets that can disintegrate on people more, whatever. And it's a lot easier than you think to get. There are literally YouTube videos about how to make your own specialty bullets depending on the type of weapon that you have. So it can be quote unquote more lethal in defensive situations, or it can have more of a spray that can harm more people. Like, this is all stuff that actually exists and is easily accessible for people to understand if they have that thing. So then if everyone assumes that they have that, then it just gets even more upped, because then people are like, oh, well, now we all have to have like protective gear on us and on our children, so now all of our backpacks have to have like bulletproof vests built in, so they just have to flip their backpack around and hide behind it, which is so fucked up. And then people up it more, and they start doing like large-scale explosives, and the list goes on and on. So the more you up it, the more it's just going to keep escalating on both sides. And then people become more paranoid as that just goes step by step up. So the goal is, with like most legislation surrounding guns, is to restrict the amount of people that can have weapons or access to weapons so that it's more regulated, making sure that we know who has what type of weaponry in the database, so that people who have like a mental health conviction or whatever, that can be inserted into the database, and they can be like, hey, this person should no longer have gun privileges. It says here that they have a gun still, and they were just institutionalized for having some mental health issue, so we need to be sure that before they are released, that is removed from their property. Whether that goes to a relative or something like that, who knows? But that is something that is extremely important, because you can't have regulations without having fail-safes to ensure that stuff is actually happening. And people will be like, oh, but that means that the government has like more data on you than you think, blah, blah, blah. You think the government doesn't have the ability to like listen to you on your phones? Like, there was a whole thing after 9/11 where they could literally listen to anyone they wanted to whenever. And they can still do that on almost any device. They don't need your permission. And there's more deals that are happening with like different companies to allow for them to do even more invasive stuff with software. So you're not as safe as you think from your government when it comes to information. That's not me trying to be paranoid or trying to make you paranoid. It's just how it is. Oh my gosh, Froggy says, what is a grouper? I just typed that in Google. It showed a picture of an orphanized pet, which is offensive to froggy men everywhere. Okay, Froggy. Randall says, carrying in public is just a show of rights. It's all a show and that's all. It should be allowed. I do not know, but also I do not care for that law. Reason is my belief is that it should never be shown, or even people know you have a gun unless you are practicing, or it needs to be used. It should only ever be used when you need to prevent death of yourself or family, and that's just my belief, though. Yeah, that's a good theory. It is in theory, because, like, sometimes people, they feel that they are defending their community or their family by harming people. Like, I can guarantee you that people make a martyr out of maybes more than you can think, because they think that someone has the potential to harm someone, even though there may not be a lot of evidence that that has happened, so they feel justified in taking them out. So it's like anyone has the ability to become either physically disabled or mentally disabled. Nobody is immune to that. there is a certain set of circumstances that can happen for everyone, is special for each person usually, that can cause a switch to flick and make it so you are no longer stable. Everybody has that potential. So in understanding that, what would you want as a fail-safe to prevent people who have that switch flicking from harming other people? Because most of the time when people harm other people, they either feel like they're protecting themselves or they're protecting others. And not everybody, most of the time when people do horrific acts like that, not even most of the time, almost all the time, they're either doing it because they're being instructed to by other people and they justify it in their head, even if they don't believe that it's okay. Like fucking Israelis, like, or the IDF doing what they're doing to Palestine, killing children and shit like that. They have to justify it in their heads in order to do those actions and sleep at night. They have to find a way. And if people can find a way to do that, people can find a way to justify almost harming anyone if they feel that there is a reason they have to. And it just takes like someone having mental health problems and that like switch flicking for just the right circumstance at just the right time for them to snap and do horrific shit. That's just how it goes. And everybody has the potential to go crazy like that. Everyone has the potential to become a horrible person. So what fail-safe would you want in place for anyone who's having that position, or in that position, or even yourself if you were to be like that? Like, think in your head, in what circumstance would you find it justifiable to do something fucked up? And what would you want to, like, prevent yourself from ever having that potential? Which sounds crazy because no one wants to think of themselves like that or, like, being horrible like that. But humanity always has the potential to do horrific things. Even the kindest people push to a point where we'll have the potential to do something horrible. It sounds crazy. I know it's not actually crazy, but like it makes me feel uncomfortable to think about. But that's like a thought process that I've been able to like talk with other people through that help them understand like, oh my God, like anybody around me could potentially like have problems. So what would I want to protect not only them, but also myself? And there's lots of things, which I talked about that list earlier, so rewind if you want to, or ask questions. This is such a heavy topic. Sorry. I think about it in that way because, well, I've had people in my life pass away because of gun violence. So, yeah. Like, people where, like, I've known both parties, and the person who did commit the violence, I had no idea that they had the potential to do that, and the person who passed away, also probably had no idea that that was, like, able to happen. There was, like, little to no signs. They were, yeah, and I'm not going to dive into it because I'll start crying and stuff, but yeah, it's, that's, like, it happens. And no one is special. Like, no, that's the thing that happens with, like, people who do horrific acts. They're not special. They're not. Give anyone the same set of circumstances or the same conditions or whatever, and their switch flicks in a similar way, they'll probably do a similar thing. This is so fucking sad. Sorry, y'all. It's so depressing. Holy shit. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. But yeah, Randall says, I'm autistic and understand that things can be that way. Okay, good. I'm not trying to, like, down anybody yet. Making anyone feel like shit. I even go to therapy monthly. The real question is, do you want to be safe to the point where no one is safe, or do you want security to where everyone can be dangerous? Either way, it's a catch-22. Well, here's the thing. You can never control whether or not another person can be dangerous, but you can reduce the likelihood for someone to snap. So that would be providing people with basic needs, making it so that they don't feel like the world is against them, by ensuring that they have access to food, water, sanitation, like enlightenment or enrichment via like career or like a contribution to community or even just mental enrichment via entertainment. So having that sort of thing, that is what prevents people from acting out and snapping, you know? People don't snap unless they feel like they have no other option, unless they feel cornered. People are animals. You yourself are an animal. I am an animal. Even though, like, we like to think we're special all the time, and in some ways we are special, but we all have the potential to be problematic. But what keeps us from being problematic is the fact that we are content with our lives. We feel enriched with our lives, or we feel that there is a potential for us to be enriched. Otherwise, you go against the grain of society, and then that can cause people to spiral, and then this sort of thing happens. Yeah. Randall says, and now you hit the real point and great answers are provided. What do you mean? Please explain. Also, man, we've been talking about this for like almost an hour. There's going to be an ad in a minute and a half, and it's going to be for about a minute and a half. But I think almost all of you guys have like subscription now, which is wow. Y'all have been like very kind to me, so thank you. I mean, you said all the answers, yeah. But the reason people have different methods of going about that. Conservatives believe that it's the responsibility of the person to find their own enrichment, to find their own security and comfort, whereas lefties believe that that should be given as a human right. That is the big difference between the left and the right, like conservatives and lefties. There's other things as well, but that's the primary thing. People can say that conservatives focus on finances or whatever. No. It's saying that, hey, we believe that you have to, if you want to feel good and you want to feel fulfilled, then you need to force yourself to get to this level. Even if you're not at like the same playing field, you have to force yourself to get those privileges of being enriched. So they view it to be a privilege to be like that, whereas lefties view that to be the standard. And you should have everyone have the ability to live at that standard. That is the biggest difference between conservatives and lefties. Everything that happens argument-wise is just all about that. All about that. And gun control is just another factor in that. Like, people, conservatives, from my, like, most people's perspectives, honestly, that is, like, left-leaning and not conservative, they view conservatives to be selfish because instead of believing that people could, like, you know, like everybody deserves a standard or whatever, you, like conservatives from my perspective and lots of lefties' perspectives, because they feel that you have to earn privileges like having a good quality of life and all that sort of thing, it is something that you have to protect yourself from others to maintain. There's like that inherent, like everyone is out to get me because this is not like the standard, and that, you know, it's not a human right, it's something you have to protect. Whereas lefties have the opposite perspective of like, why should I have to like protect myself all the time? Why should I need a gun to protect myself or whatever, when this is just the standard that life should be at? There is no protecting that should be done besides like legislatively in order to maintain this. Which is why a lot of lefties are more passive and conservatives are more like outwardly aggressive, because conservatives are like, I built this, I have this. It's like a whole different mentality shift. Like, this is mine. Like, I built this for myself. Whereas lefties are like, everyone should have this. This is a standard that everyone should be able to live, which is interesting. Randall says, I think both are right in that case. If you see people becoming unstable, then us as people should help them get help. If a person feels unstable, they should seek help. Both are valid. The thing is when people are unstable, they don't really recognize that they are unstable until hindsight, when they're in a better mental headspace. This is what people in the mental health field call lucidity. when people are more lucid and they're able to understand what's happening. That's a phrase that, not going to dive super deep into it, but to give it more context, you hear about that a lot with Alzheimer or dementia patients, where they have moments of lucidity where they can fully comprehend what is happening to them in their circumstances. That's what that is. Um, but yeah, so if someone feels unstable, very rarely when they're actually in like episodes of whether that be mania or psychosis or whatever that leads them to that point, or like severe depression or paranoia, which you don't have to have like, yeah, there's many things that can lead people to that point. If people are in those positions, they feel in their brain that what they're thinking is valid. It's very, very hard for people at that point to recognize that they're not okay. They think that the world around them is not okay, or they have to feel like justified in what they're doing. You see this with people who do horribly selfish things because they will always feel justified in it, even though they are not justified in the actions that they are taking. There's always like human brains have to justify your behavior, you know? And not gonna make it super deep, but this is the understanding that is the core of psychology and philosophy as a whole. You can only perceive the world from yourself. So when other people are telling you that you're not okay, but you can't be in their shoes to like see that how you could not be okay, you're not going to understand that. That's just not how the world works. Which is why I'm like so hyper. That's why I've been in therapy for so long and that sort of thing, because I never want to like be a problem to people and not be able to see it, because you won't be able to see it if you're the problem, you know? Like, I don't know, that's why I've been in therapy since like high school, because I've seen people like have those problems. And luckily I've never had those problems, but it's like, it's scary to be around. But yeah, if you see people becoming unstable, they're not really going to listen to you either. That's why we need to have adequate mental health care and have it be cheap and inexpensive for people to get the care that they need. And sometimes that requires people to be on medications. And if people are able to have better access to therapy, therapeutic resources, inpatient or outpatient facilities, which would be like if you are so bad that you have to be monitored 24/7 or have medication stabilized for you, that's when you go into an inpatient facility. People call that like a psych ward, mental health hospital. There's so many different levels to it. That's a whole different thing. Uh, but when it comes to outpatient facility, that's usually used for monitoring people who could potentially be a risk to themselves or others. Like they're just needing more additional help. There's different levels to it. Yeah. Randall says that's a perspective. Self perspective is the hardest thing about being human. Yeah. It can be, yeah. And it's hard. It's hard. Like, if you take the time to observe yourself a lot, then you'll be able to be like, oh, this thing's weird or whatever. Like, this isn't normal. Like, I'm one of, I'm not gonna like make it all about me because I think that's redundant. But to give an example, I am hyper aware of myself. Like, I struggle to even take ibuprofen because my body feels slightly different and it stresses me out. I don't like being drunk. I don't like um, being like high or whatever like that, like smoking a lot of weed. I'd smoke CBD or whatever, but even that makes me feel slightly weird. So I can't really handle intoxicants super well because I feel it so much. So like I'm hyper aware of my emotional state, which is why I'm like overly, or not overly regulated, but like people can perceive me to be like cold because I'm like observing my emotions and I'm controlling how much I like let out to people because I'm very like hyper aware of it all the time. And if I have big emotions, I can like shut down because I'm just not like, it's like I don't feel comfortable like, unleashing that on people, so I usually don't. Which is why I don't like crying in front of people or whatever, because it's like I'm softy, I'm sensitive. But it's a thing. But there are people who are the opposite, and it took me a really like until like my late teenage years for me to understand that there are people who straight up don't see that. Like people could have a tummy ache and not really understand that their stomach is upset at all. Like, they don't even feel it until, like, oh, they're like, oh yeah, I guess my stomach's been hurting for like maybe a couple of weeks or whatever. And I'm like, I could tell you the exact days, exactly where it was hurting, like how long it's been hurting for. Like, I have just always been like that detailed into it. But people are different, I guess. It's kind of weird. But you have to understand that not everybody thinks like how you do. So if you could handle a weapon safely or whatever and be safe and not harm another person, which statistically speaking, you could still discharge a weapon like on accident and have something horrible happen. Like, it's not like you're not unique. Accidents happen. It doesn't matter how cautious you try to be, stuff will still happen. But the idea is understanding that not everybody else has the same mental capacity that you do. And take that into consideration when you talk about things like gun violence, because obviously when people do things like that, they're not in the right state of mind. Like, they're not okay. There are other ways and always other options to do certain things. But if you're not willing to accept that, you're just going to think that, oh, the left hates guns or like blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's not about you. Like, it's not a personal attack on you. And if you are taking it as a personal attack, then there's like a lot more going on. You need to open yourself up to understand that not everybody has the same mental capacity that you do. And the legislation, if you're mentally fit or whatever, you will not have those restrictions put on you. Froggy says self-perspective. There. Bruh. Vibes. But like, you guys, I hope you guys understand what I mean, because when when I have these discussions with people, it can get very complicated because they're not understanding that other people don't perceive things the way that they can't perceive things the way that they do. Randall says I do, and I agree. Yeah, which is why gun control is important. Having mental health standards is important. Like, you can blame mental health issues for gun violence all you want, or say like people because they have a certain world perspective, that's why they do that. No, anybody has the capability of having thoughts and beliefs, but what takes someone to take action and have like such heinous, horrible impacts on society is a lot more than just thoughts and beliefs. Because you are not your thoughts. You're not your thoughts. People like to identify with their thoughts, but you are not your thoughts. You are your actions. That is what defines who you are. So if you sit there and you're like, oh, well, I think that, like, this is me like paraphrasing, like, I think that if everyone has access to a gun, then we're in a safer place, that's thought. But the action is that people will do whatever they want willy-nilly, regardless, and that's why there has to be limitations set up for them. So having like that thought isn't like really well executed when it comes to actions, because it sets that bar up higher, kind of like what we were talking about earlier. So you have the ability to change your thoughts, which can influence your actions too. So if you change your perspective and you're like, okay, well, obviously not everybody should have a weapon. So then if not everybody should have a weapon, what do we need to do to prevent everybody from having a weapon? You know, because theoretically that sounds nice, but what do we have to do to prevent people who are not in that healthy, like, mental health space or whatever, who aren't hunting or like doing something like that, or not, like, there's no purpose for them to do it. Like, what can you do to like have conditions set? Because there always has to be limitations and conditions, you know? Randall says each person has different thoughts and different as each human. 100 people in a room see a bouncing red ball and will see 100 different ways, each and every human. Yeah. Yeah, which is exactly why I'm saying you can't just view it from your perspective. You have to accommodate the people around you. And not everybody is going to be trusted with a weapon. Like, you know how some people, they can't take care of pets well? It's like they just can't do it. They either become like, Or plants. They kill plants all the time. That's a way better example because it's less consequential, right? Some people cannot keep a plant alive. Would you continue to just give them plant after plant after plant when they kill every single one of them? Like they cannot be trusted with the plants? Would that be like a good amount of money? Like, are you wasting your money at that point if they're just going to keep killing the plants? Yes. You wouldn't keep giving them something that they can't maintain or they cannot handle. The same thing happens with access to weaponry. You should not give someone access to weaponry of any kind, even if it's just for fun or whatever, if they have proven in other situations that they can't even handle the very basics of it. If someone can't be trusted with a knife, why would you give them a loaded gun? That doesn't make sense. That's my personal opinion. Because when you sit there and you really break it down, it's not about what your political ideology is. It has nothing to, like, people make it a partisan issue when it is not a partisan issue. And people are like, oh, the conservatives say this, the lefties do this. All that has to do with is legislation. But when you're sitting here having a basic ass conversation, has nothing to do with that. Everything to do with like, hey, let's actually talk this out. Just frustrating. Because a lot of people don't want to do that. Because they're in their fields. They get defensive over something when they're not thinking about the people around them. They're thinking about, oh, me, myself, and I. When it's not attacking you. If you have good mental health or whatever, you would still be able to do pretty much whatever you want. So it's not even about you. So why are you so upset? You know, that's the problem I have when it comes to a lot of these discussions. I'm not saying you guys are like that right now, but it's come up in a lot of conversations I've had. Randall says, but that's again a perspective. 100 people, 100 different perspectives. Yeah, but then people haven't necessarily shared their perspectives about it. Because when my perspective personally doesn't have to do about me. Like, I could handle a weapon. I could have a weapon in my home. I have never been institutionalized for, like, mental health problems. I've never had, like, you know, any episodes or anything like that. Clean bill of health or whatever. I live in a home. I could have a weapon where someone who's also very mentally able and adept could also have a weapon. It's not like living with my ex or whatever where he had like a whole list of problems. Like, I'm not going to talk about whether or not I have a weapon because I'm not sharing that stuff online. But theoretically, we could have one and it would be fine. There'd be no problems. And, you know, like you were saying before, Randall, I don't really believe in like sharing if you have like a concealed weapon or like anything like that because like it's not the internet's business what I do have or what I don't have. You can make your assumptions if you want to, but that's not really going to help you with anything. So you can guess. I don't care. Like, that doesn't mean that any of my neighbors would be like super great with weapons or whatever, and I should be like, oh yeah, all of them should have it. Because not everyone's trained. Some people can't handle the sounds of like shooting a gun. Like I have seen people literally cry their first time shooting a weapon and start having a panic attack and their hands are like shaking as they're trying to shoot. Like some people, it's just not for them. And those people, they're probably not going to be like super into guns or really like super accepting of it because they can't see past their own perspective on it. So, yeah, I don't know. Some people are though. Some people are like, yeah, like I understand, blah 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 blah. It's very, very, very layered and very, very complicated. But it's not actually that complicated. It's more simplified. But people's identifying with the concept and politics of it is what makes it complicated. Nothing is ever really that complicated. I will not answer. I 100% agree. People should never know if you do or not. Yeah. George says hydrate. I know. I've been talking a lot. Randall says I would not answer. Yeah. Exactly. Oh, today I have blood orange soda again. It's actually really good. I've been trying to like, Oh no, I don't really drink a lot of like sodas or anything. So every once in a while I try to have some. Like today I really like Dr. Pepper. I have a problem. I've like always been into Dr. Pepper. So I had a Dr. Pepper and then I had like a Coke Zero and I mixed them together in my bottle. And my coworkers really get crazy, but it's like my Friday thing that I have. But it's because my work is like, you can have a free soda every time you work. And I'm like, but okay. And then I just do that, which is, it's kind of nice, but yeah. But I don't know. I hope that makes sense to you guys. Because I feel like, so you're a pepper? Yeah. I don't remember how to say doctor in Arabic, but we were talking about peppers yesterday. Fufu. Anyways, meme. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. Like I don't know. Yeah, people like when it comes to the mental health thing, people are not a good gauge of their own mental health. Just so y'all know. And that's why it's very important that you surround yourself with people that you can trust with your mental health, who will check you and be like, "Hey, like you're not really there with it." Because I've seen people personally who trust the wrong people, who have just very different perspectives on life or whatever, and then it just goes very downhill. There's lots of conditions where that can happen. And that's not very fun. I'm not saying be with enablers for sure. That's why I'm saying get like therapists or whatever. That's always really nice to have. Some like non like a third party, but yeah. Anyways, that's about like an hour and 10 minutes. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about today? I don't know. I was watching part of like the UN briefing on Russia and um, Poland today. Felt really good. And that was like a whole thing. Russia was basically like, they're like aggressors towards us or whatever. And like, it was an, not, I don't think they said it was like an accident that they went into the airspace. Let me go back to it. Because that was something that I was like, oh yeah, blah. What was Russia's statement on Poland in, oh yeah, Russia said it was a mistake. So, oh, U.S. vows to defend NATO territory. Blah, blah, blah. That was today. This is routers. I gotta see what the U.S. said, which basically they're like, yeah, but what the U.S. says and what Trump says are usually very different things. So, the UN is supposed to be like, people view it to be like a disciplinary thing. It's literally not. It's basically a ton of countries come together and they're supposed to give their stance to other countries about different events that are happening. But obviously, it doesn't have a ton of backing for the most part, and they don't really come up with anything beyond like maybe agreeing to, like have, like maybe we all get together and we agree to have restrictions on some countries or whatever, but usually that's done at a different setting than the UN. Uh, let's see. Poland shoots down suspected Russian drones with NATO support, and Russia denies targeting Poland and said drones could not reach their territory. So that's like the big thing. Randall says, by the way, I will say this. I do carry, but not a weapon. I carry a pocket knife because it's a required tool for fishing. I think it's important to differentiate the difference between weapons and tools. Yeah, exactly. And when people say that, like, a gun is a tool, I'm like, okay, are you gonna, like, be hunting people IRL? Like, you know? Like, having it in public settings doesn't really make sense to me. But no, I get what you mean. I also carry a pocket knife with me, like at all times. I have like my little mini one. It's in my purse right now, but it's like a 2-inch blade. It's not very big. I have another one that's like an inch and a half. Um, and it comes in handy, like, because at my job I kind of need to have a pocket knife. One of my jobs though that I have nowadays, I can't bring it in. Well, I have to like leave it in my purse. Like I can't carry it on me because then people are like, and I'm just like, okay, valid, valid. I get it. George says Russia better be careful in the future. If Poland asks for Article 5 of NATO, shit will hit the fan. Yeah. And Russia is playing kind of like coy. They're like, oh no, no, that wasn't us. That wasn't us. And technically it was Iranian drones, I believe. It could be, I think it was like Iranian model drones. So they could have plausible deniability and be like, oh, well, maybe a private distributor got them in Ukraine and they're just trying to like escalate things further or whatever. So there's a lot of stuff. Unless you intercept some form of communications, which with drones, that's like very hard. It's usually like pre programmed instructional stuff, or it's something where you can just identify the location where it is going towards, where the message is going towards, not necessarily the fact that it is like from a certain whatever, unless there's like a vocal kind of like microphone or not even microphone, but like a speaker in it where you can hear the person. But usually it doesn't have any data like that associated with it. So yeah, in my opinion, yeah, we'll have to see how it is. I think Russia's kind of testing the waters with things. They're trying to see how much of a response NATO is going to have to what they're doing. And I think they're going to try to like fully take over Ukraine. At least that's what they've been trying to do for a while, in my humble opinion. I don't think that Ukraine is going to be a full nation by the time all this is over, because Russia's just going to keep trying things and trying things. And now with the backing of, a lot of countries who are very anti-West right now, like China and a bit like Iran, they're getting stuff from Iran and so on and so forth. Since they have more support, since the war has been going on for so long, I highly, highly, highly doubt that they're going to back down. Do I think that they'll probably eventually stop once Ukraine says, yeah, fine, you can have this amount of territory? Yes, because that will make its way to their citizens and they'll be forced to stop, you know? But I think that in about maybe not like 10, 15 years' time, I think Russia will probably have an economic collapse after a lot of that stuff happens. I think that'll be after the war, because then they won't have a military machine that is fueling them financially anymore, or at least incentivizing them, and nationalism will break. Because right now, what's unifying Russia is the war. That's all that they have going for them. Not trying to be shitty, but when your country's at war, even if you're not pro the war, it's either you leave the country or you're stuck there and you are still like part of it. And it unifies people together in a way where they fear for themselves and stuff, and everybody, civilian wise, shares that fear. So without that, there's going to be a lot less nationalism, and then people are going to process what happened with the Ukrainian war. How like a lot of kids were taken from Ukraine, taken into Russia and stuff. They'll have to accept those things and fully process them and try to justify them, which will be a lot harder when there is no active fear of conflict. President of Poland was just here in DC talking with Trump last week. Yeah. Which is kind of weird. But you're right, George, yeah. Randall says a gun can be considered a tool, but oh yeah, we're going back to this, okay. But it's a tool designed for one purpose. However, I understand what they mean when they say it is a tool because it is the person using it that is dangerous, not the tool in and of itself. They can also misfire. What is it, like the P30, 320, P32 or whatever? It would literally go off if part of the trigger was like just slight, like it would get stuck. Like the safety or whatever, or like the part of the trigger mechanism would get stuck. And there's like a two-part trigger that's in most guns. That's like a safety thing. So even if you have the gun, like you tap the trigger, it doesn't just go off. Like you have to like fully take it back. that gun didn't have that, which is why it's so popular for like, what is it? I watched like a gun video about it. I can't remember who did it, otherwise I'd let you know. I think his name, he had like a video, I don't know, maybe, it was a while ago, it was like Urban Rescue Ranch. I watched his house building stuff, but he does a lot of like gun content, from my understanding. But I think he did some commentary on it, and other like gun YouTubers and stuff like that did too. Yeah. Is it Urban Rescue Ranch or Urban like Ranch or whatever? They basically built like a mansion in Texas, I think. They took an old mansion and they like, where is your channel? Let's figure it out. Urban Rescue Ranch. No, that's like the, okay, wait. Andrew. Do you remember that gun YouTuber that like built or redid a mansion in Texas? What was his name? I'm gonna go ask, because Urban Rescue Ranch, I watch his videos. He's really sweet. Give me a second. What's the one gun YouTuber that like has Demolition Ranch? Okay, what's his gun channel? Okay, cool. Okay. His name is Demolition Ranch. Sorry, y'all. I'm really bad with names. Okay. Yeah, but he basically has like a lot of gun stuff that he did, like shooting every caliber he can, blowing up his range. Oh yeah, the Trump shooter was wearing a Demolition Ranch shirt. He made a video about that. That was an interesting watch. Yeah, that got like 9.4 million views a year ago. But yeah, there's a lot of content that he makes about guns, and he made a video where he was shooting it too, and he explained it a long while ago, like a couple of years ago, honestly. Sorry, I don't watch a lot of gun content, but I do find it interesting because the mechanism process is neat. So when I was shooting, with my friends and stuff more regularly, I would watch videos to make sure I was handling the gun properly, and his videos were fairly instructional, so the more you know. Did someone say pew pew control? Yes, I did, Schmicky Shmoo. Schmicky Shmoo. I'm gonna have to watch the Demolition Ranch Trump shooter video. We can watch that later. Maybe. What's your opinion on that? We've been talking about that this entire stream. I had a little spiel. I like a whole long spiel about it. Is that my mind? What's your? My cat says hi. Oh, okay. Lay down. I'm sorry, was it Urban? I confused Demolition Ranch and Urban Rescue Ranch. I don't know if you watch any of those YouTubers, but I mean, technically, they're like, I think they're both in Texas. Schmicky Schmooze. Should I call you Schmicky? Just so cursed. I'm so sorry. And now I don't know which way you go on the topic, but I will say I'm a liberal white man in my mid-20s, and I own dozens of pew-pews, and I think there needs to be more of a process. Randall says, I have a B-day to attend soon, so I've got to go soon. Oh, yeah, congratulations. Also, happy birthday to your friend. I hope they're good. I hope they're not shit. Because sometimes I've seen streamers, like, give, like, shout-outs to people, which is why I'm not going to say, like, their specific name if you ever give that to me. But I hope they have a decent birthday, I guess. As long as they're not shitty. Which I can't really know, so. It's like me putting that out there in the universe. I'm joking, Randall. Kind of. Anyways. Well, what's your opinion, Schmicky Shmoo? We talked a little bit about it. I made a TikTok about it. I don't know. If you tell me your perspective, then yeah. It's Australia friend's birthday. I'll let them know what you said. I said. Aussie, Aussie. Anyways, you're welcome. Do they live in? I guess they probably do live in Florida. Or are they visiting? Oh no, no. The world would never know. No, but I'm like serious. I hope they have a good birthday. I'm tapping my cat. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's like giving drum circle vibes. I feel kind of bad for him though. He's like, he hasn't been feeling good today. He's been doing better though. So waiting on your opinion, Schmicky. Just so y'all know, that's what I'm waiting for. Oh, there we go. Schmicky says, I think states should have psychiatrists you should have to meet with to get clearance, and then I think there should be a 7-day hold off on rifle and shotguns. Valid. I actually really agree with that one. I'm in Maryland, and him pew pew here already requires, of course, 7-day holds on purchases. Yeah, here in Nebraska, not so much. I also think private sales need to be more restricted and handled. Like, yeah, like pharmacists can distribute pharmaceuticals, like any like form of opiate, but the minute a non-pharmacist does it, it is a felony. That's my perspective. You should have designated people who can do that. At least that's what I think. Randall says, I hope everyone has a successful day and stays safe as well. Period. I hope so too. And you do too, Randall. I hope you don't get like too drunk or anything like that if you do that. But please be safe. Please don't go too wild. I believe in you. I think you'll do good. And I hope you have fun too. It should be good. Not gonna, I don't want to jinx it. Plus, Aussies are pretty fun. I love Aussies. Schmicky says private sales should have to have a third-party registered dealer. Yes. To handle a hold and the checks. Yes. Because I think that guns should be more documented. I think there needs to be a database of guns and the owners that they belong to. So if anything is tampered with or whatever, it's easier to track down who had it. And there's serial numbers and all that sort of thing too. Not every gun has that. Because people like scratch it off and stuff too. But there's ways of knowing. I feel like gun manufacturers should make it harder for people to remove numbers like that. I know it's been more of a recent thing where they have, but I think maybe 2018 or something like that. There was people proposing like regulation on like bump stocks and stuff like that. I don't know if people are still into that. I think that's something that's just coming back to with some shit. I don't know. I don't know all the deets of that one. Well, Shmiki says, I also believe that there should be stricter guidelines on reporting missing weapons. I'm going to write some of this stuff down because you're adding a lot of like things that I think are really awesome. Let's see. Shmiki says, I also believe that there should be stricter guidelines on reporting missing weapons. I believe here they said that has to be reported within 48 hours of discovery. I think that should be closer to 6. And then, of course, update if you find it. Yeah, for sure. I like this a lot, by the way. It's also really scary to lose a weapon, honestly. Oh, big stretch. Big stretch, baby. Oh. Anyway, sorry. He's Cute. And up in. But no, that's actually really smart. My question is if people are continuously losing a weapon, should they have it removed from like their possession? Like if you lose it more than like 6 times or something like that within a year, should you have it removed from your possession, or should you be allowed to keep it? Because I think if it has to be removed, it would not it would be like decentivize people from making the reports. Because what if they lose stuff all the time, you know? But how do you lose a gun all the time? That's the thing. I agree with that one, Schmicky. Yeah, proof of purchase of a certified safe. Agreed. Agreed. Like upon purchase or through the process. You have good ideas. I enjoy this. Purchase. And who would be certifying the safe? That's my question. Would there be like a state regulation board, or would this be something that would be done like on a federal level, or would there just be um like who would be doing that? Like what type of committee would Justin would be able to judge that? I guess is it the DEA that would do that? Drugs, explosives, and arms. I don't remember what it is. Wait, hold up. What does DEA stand? Drug Enforcement Administration. What is the gun enforcement one? What is the gun regulation agency? USA. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. Yep, ATF. That's what it is. Apologies. I knew it was some acronym. I'm not really good with names, y'all, but I know it exists. I think if you had a free class to take proper storage and security, like after the third time, it kind of lessens the punishment so they don't go unreported. Valid. I feel like how we have people to test and certify car safety and safety of consumer goods, there can be a section that tests safe manufacturers, designs, and certifies them. That's true. But then on a state level and city level, it's more of a county thing, honestly. They have different regulations on car checks and stuff like that, too. Here in Omaha, like the Douglas County kind of area, there is no car checks that people have to do, which means our insurance rates are really high. So when you purchase a vehicle and you get it registered, they don't force you to like show them the vehicle, or like you don't have to like, really do a ton of stuff. You just have to renew your title basically. And a lot of Nebraska is like that. So even though technically there are legal regulations and stuff like that, there are no ways to enforce it here for the most part. Unless like you get like a ticket or something and then they want to like get you, but they usually don't do that. Okay? Uh George says you don't have state inspection of a vehicle when you buy them. Nope. Nebraska doesn't have that at all. That's also why Nebraska has some of the worst drivers, because people are driving vehicles they shouldn't. And people straight up not have mirrors, not have like plates. They'll make crazy modifications to their cars that they shouldn't, and it's technically street legal. They do have rules and regulations, but none of it's ever enforced unless you are in an accident and that's the cause of the accident, or some other like random conditions. Schmicky says, or at least require certain aspects to a safe, like key safety or a certain digit code, along with maybe a thickness of the walls, locks. That makes sense. Making sure that people can't just most safes you can cut into with like an angle grinder or something like that. But yeah. Schmicky says, but again, I don't think the safe idea is the best because you have the large upfront costs requiring them. And people will be really upset about that at first. But I think that it makes sense because people, you know, people don't understand that guns are inherently expensive, especially as a hobby. Getting like a pack of bullets can be anywhere from like $40 to like hundreds of dollars, depending on the round and type of ammunition that you get. Anyways, George says, my state has to be inspected when you buy it, and I have to go through emissions tests every 2 years. Yeah, you don't have to do that here. Like, as long, ooh, that felt really good. As long as, like, from factory, you have, like, the factory itself says that it's good, then it's good. Even if it's, like, 30 years later. Yeah, you guys are both in Maryland. I'm surprised you didn't get that sooner. Anyways, Shmiki says they can punish people for not locking up their guns or keeping track of them, but most of the time, they do that. It's too late. Yeah. We get a lot of East Coasters here. And Southern United States. Not a lot of Central US people. They're like, fuck that bitch. Why is she here? Let's see. What else do you think there should be? Mr. Schmicky? Your name is also really fun too, just so you know. We got about 20 minutes left, sir. And just so you all know, this weekend we're playing Hollow Knight again. I'm so excited. I'm gonna designate like a longer stream, hopefully tomorrow, so I can do that. I do have homework tonight, so I do have to limit it to 2 hours. Like right. Sorry, Schmicky. Sorry, Schmicky. Also, thank you for the follow, Schmicky. That is very sweet of you. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate the follow. I feel like I need to come up with like a thing to say when people like need to have like an emote, you know, make it feel like Uncanny Valley. George says that was the game you were playing last weekend, right? Yeah. When we finished Stray, and I started playing Hollow. It's so fun. I just started getting into it. I've been thinking about it all weekend. Like I'm doing my homework early tonight, so I don't feel pressured to like do anything tomorrow. So I can just locked in, tight like a booty hole. Sorry, it's a meme. I apologize. Shmiki says, the thing is, no matter how many gun laws, there will always be people that get hold of them with bad intention, but limiting that is important. Yeah. And being able to figure out the chain of who has what for how long is extremely important. Because sometimes, like, people would get guns or whatever, and if you can't trace it back to anyone or anything, you can't hold someone liable for, like, if you have mental health regulations, right? And there's a private sale that happens outside of government regulation, you would be able to, like, trace it all the way back to the person who had it originally, because it would, like, the exchange of the good into someone else's hands wouldn't be documented. So you would be the person that's liable for it. And if you don't report it stolen or whatever, then you would have more jail time. Yeah. If only they had a way to like put a code or like fingerprint type thing on firing pins. Are you talking about like what the fuck was it? 007, like the more recent movies or whatever, where he had like a palm thing on the gun. No, there's an ad. It's okay. You can't see my mind, but he says hi. Boop, boop, boop. Oh, wait. It makes it so hard for me to stay awake when, like, all the cats and the dogs are in here. Sleepy with me. Ollie's right at the doorway. That's where he likes to lay, so I can't really show him. Siri or one of the cats is almost always back up there. Bixby, I think she's in the bedroom somewhere. And, man, it makes it so hard to stay awake. Because when I stream, that's like when they're super chill. But then when I want to take a nap, God fucking forbid, they're like all up in my shit. Eventually they fall asleep and they hang out, but it takes a while. It takes quite a while for them to chill out. Yawn, yawn, yawn. Yawn, yawn, yawn. I finally got my neck. I did like a more intense workout today. And then I need to like pop my back, but I can't until like my muscles start like relaxing more. Oh, big stretch. Oh, sorry, more after the workout. You have returned from the ads? Hells yeah. Okay, Schmicky. So I was making a 007 reference, where in one of the movies they have like a palm scanner or whatever, so only 007 could shoot the gun. And it's like plot point. I know, he's so cute. Bonjour, mosquito! Yay! He's my little problem child. He's kind of a hoe. He's really tiny too. Do you see how handsome he is? He is literally the best Halloween decoration I have. And he's alive, you know? So it's even better. I'm getting nice and cozy, chat. I know my I'm sorry. I'm like getting more comfy in the chair. Whispering. Oh. You love him. Do you have a cat, Schmicky? Schmicky says, I like when cats scratch their back all tall. I always say Halloween cat, Halloween cat. Aww. That's very kind of you, George. You guys are from the same state. Of course, you have to be sweet. OMG, thank you, George. Hey, I'm happy to help him. Yeah, I knew it! Yeah, we do have a lot of Euros here. A lot of Euro boys, Southerners, West Coast people, and Arabs and North Africans. Sometimes we get East Asian people, but that's only if I stream early, and I haven't done that in a long time. We have a very diverse demographic. You never really know what's going to happen, but it usually comes in waves. Schmicky says, crab people unite. Wait, do you guys have a lot of like what's your favorite thing to eat there that's local? Both of you can answer this, by the way. I want to know. Rockfish. There you go. Blue crabs or Ledo pizza. Ledo pizza. Not pedo pizza, but Ledo pizza. That's a good one too. I want to try rockfish pretty bad. When I go out to the East Coast, oh, Lido. Lido, Lido. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's the original Maryland style pizza. Never cuts corners. $6. I love calzone. Y'all, I'm so lactose intolerant. Every time I eat dairy, I look like I'm like 4 months pregnant, but that's fine. It's fine. It all comes out in parts later. So like it's chill. But like it's so good. I love calzones. Like the first time I had a calzone, I was like, so now I have to have pizza instead because there's less cheese on the slice. Or I have to get like the lactose medication. Pregnant with an ice cream baby. Yes! Every time I got ice cream on Monday, and the next day I was like, look at my stomach, and Andrew was like, what the fuck? Why do you always show me this? Because I'll take my shirt and I'll like put it really tight and I'll be like, look at my fart, baby. I'm sorry. It's gross. But it's true. It's so true. It's just like my stinky poop, baby. And now it's been a couple days and like my abs are more defined again and I'm like, yes. Give me 3 months and I'll have like a full like 4-pack again. Right now it's just like the lines. I have to like completely cut out dairy in order for me to actually have like abs. Uh Mickey, I'm having a hard time judging your age. You're either like 17 or 24 or like a young looking 32. It's so confusing for people. Oh my gosh. When I was going out with one of my friends, someone thought that I was her mom because she looks really young and I have like a very confusing aesthetic. So people always think I'm older or younger. They think I'm older with a lot of like plastic surgery and Botox and stuff because when I'm really awkward, I just like don't move my face and I'm like, you know? Or they think I'm like young. That's really funny. How old are you, Shmicky? Oh no! Oh, you hear the food. Okay, bye. Bye, my. Technically, I'm in my mid-20s. I'm getting old though. I'm like getting closer to 30. So, yeah, I'm about there. 29 a couple weeks. Oh my god. Shut the fuck up. We are closer in age than I sometimes I sit there and I'm like being a teenager seems so far away. Like it's so far away. Like high school was like 10 years ago. And I sit there and I'm like, holy fuck. Holy shit. Holy shit. And it's just fucking crazy to me. I feel old. I still feel like I'm 16. I don't. But my knees remind me I'm not, bro. It's my shoulders. I have to lay on my back now because I'm like hypermobile, and when I lay on my side, unless I have like something propping me up, or something propping me up, my shoulder gets out of place because like I have very broad shoulders. So when I lay on my side, in order for my head to be like on the pillow flat, like it's because I work out. But like yeah, so it's like George says, I still feel like I'm in my 30s. I feel like that's probably what I'll be like. I hope I don't peak in my 30s. I hope there is no peak and there's just a gradual incline in my life, which I think that's probably how it's going to be for me. But every year I get older, the better I feel and the more comfortable I feel in the world. Like I feel like I understand how to navigate things better. But when I was young, holy moly, I was like constantly trying to learn everything. I was freaking the fuck out constantly. Horrible anxiety all the time. I still have anxiety, but it's not nearly as bad. When I stand up, it sounds like Jiffy Pop. Like, do your knees go like? I definitely felt the frontal lobe hitting different at like 25, 26 though. Yes. Yes. And I've been having problems because like I literally made a TikTok about this. No one commented. So I was like, you don't have to comment. There's no peer pressure. It's just I do TikTok for fun. It's like my hobby kind of social media thing. I mean all of it. It's not really a hobby, but I treat it like my job, kind of. At least stream more than anything. TikTok, I just do random shit. I love it. It's fun to just be weird as fuck. The 13th deadline is tomorrow. I have no idea what's going to happen after tomorrow. People are like panicking. That's a whole different conversation. I'm getting sidetracked. I'm sorry. But like, I feel like ever since my frontal lobe has like kicked in, just like, I feel like the lover girl in me is like dying. Like the romantic side of me is just like romanticizing life or whatever is just and that could either be like life events or whatever, but it low key I feel like it is my like brain developing. Yeah. I don't know. But it's like I used to be like so like, oh, life is like I used to be like always like the silver lining or whatever, and now I feel like I'm not like I might be kind of a nihilist now. Not really nihilism, more like radical acceptance of sad shit and just be like, well, you make do with what you have. You just go. Shmiki says, it's my wife and I's anniversary tomorrow. Yay! The only moments I still romanticize are the literal romantic ones. That better be fucking me! I'm manifesting this shit! Give it to me, Shmiki! I mean, not you specifically, but like, I want that! I don't want to take it from you. Please be happy with what you have. Anyway, so I like to pretend that doesn't exist. George says happy anniversary. Oh, true. Happy anniversary. Sorry. I was being a little selfish there. I apologize. She's my Pookie. Oh, we've been together for 10 years, but only married for 1. Bro, you're a Pookie. You better treat her right, Schmicky. Treat her right, or some other man will. Be nice, motherfucker, to your wife. Give her a present. Don't be an asshole. Don't be like, I hope I'm not calling you out right now. Sorry, that'd be really awkward. But you better give her nice, pretty presents. You better listen to the shit that she says. You better give her nice shit. Do it. Do it, motherfucker. Be nice to her. Do like a whole thing. You better. Better treat her right, Schmicky. You better give her a good gift. Make her happy. Do the whole thing. That's where I got my name because her name is Maggie and her family called her Schmaggy. Aw, Schmaggy Schmoo. And then when I came along, my name is Nick, so I got the name Schmicky. So fun. Fuck you. Oh my god. Ah. Ah. Love is real now. I'm very happy that you're having that, but that is so fucking cute. Ah, shit. That's adorable. First year of marriage is paper, so money. Ooh. Oh, I like how you know that, George. That's very sweet. Yeah. Money, 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 money. Or you could do origami. That'd be so cute. That'd be so cute. I hope gift cards work. The envelope and card are. I think we're going to do a day trip to Philly tomorrow, though, to celebrate. Okay. Good. Every year, you're expected to do better. So if you're setting the bar low now, you can do better next year. You could get her like a surprise gift while you're out there, or you could take her to like her favorite restaurant, or you could like, bro, I'm such like a, shut the fuck up. I know y'all are gonna be like, oh, she's a romantic. I'm gonna fuck you. But like, also, I I know that you know your relationship best, so she get her thing. Just a little thing. She'll like it, even if she says she doesn't. Maybe like something nice, something small, something she talks about. Just saying. Maybe her favorite candy or something, like a little gift box, so when she wakes up, she has it. Or make her breakfast or something. She's a princess. Give her princess stuff, okay? Even if she's aggressive, she'll appreciate it. Shmiki says, it's hard because people say flowers and snacks, but I always bring home snacks and always keep fresh flowers in a vase on it. Okay. You better give her a nice thing. So maybe not snacks. But like something that she'll really appreciate. Like I'm not gonna give anything away. I'm probably not gonna like I don't know. Maybe like my future like husband or whatever is like out listening to this. Don't be fucking weird. Okay, y'all? Don't be weird. But like perfume is something that is very sentimental to me. Like scent wise. So like when I travel, like all the scents that I have that are like really OG stuff where I'm eventually gonna buy a full bottle is the scent is associated with like a place. So when I travel, I like to try out different scents. So a lot of the collection that I've been accumulating are scents that remind me of that I've traveled or people that I've cared about and stuff. And then like when I wear it, I feel comfy. So like for me, scent is like a thing like that. You're not gonna get all my personal shit though, just so you know. But I like that. That's really nice. Or like jewelry is very sentimental. Like I wear the same jewelry all the time, and all of it's sentimental for me. I'm gonna get like more matching, so I have like all gold stuff eventually, but it's all like sentimental. Let's see. Shmiki says, I think I'm gonna try and connect to her Bluetooth record player speaker and then play our first dance song when we wake up. Oh, yeah, George is right. That is a winning move. Okay, but if she likes the experience stuff, then you better really like set the tone tomorrow. You better do that shit. You better be good. You better gain your shmoo title. Okay? Don't get lazy because you've been in a relationship for a while. Otherwise, I'm going to be extremely disappointed. Just saying. Just saying. You know. Just saying. Mickey says, yeah, yeah, she wanted to go to Philly because she's never explored there before, so that's where we're going. Yeah. And have you been? You could take her to a really, not like a super fancy restaurant, but something that she'd really like. You could take her to like the seafood place. I want to go see actually, I shouldn't talk about what I want because it doesn't matter what I want right now. But you should take her to the places that she's always talked about going that she enjoys. I've never been either. Oh, I know we've been together a while and it feels brand new every day. You better make it feel brand new every day. Just saying. Not every day can be like that, I get it, but at least once a month you gotta have that brand new feel. Make it better. And you're gonna have your lows where you're gonna feel like shit sometimes. That's just how any relationship goes. I don't know. I'm like a long-term relationship gal. It's either I'm in a relationship for a long time or I'm not in a relationship for a long time and then but I'm not I don't do the short oh, we're gonna date for a week or a couple months or whatever. I'm so I have experience with the long haul, and you better make it feel new at least. Never had a 10-year long relationship, so I don't know about that one. You might have more experience in this than me. Oh, but I am very good at gift giving and very good at helping people feel happy with their gifts. So, if you need advice, even though I don't know you, I'll try to help you. This is so cute. I love this shit. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This makes me so I hope you have fun. No pressure. I feel like I'm putting a lot of pressure. Actually, not enough pressure. I should put more pressure on you. You good. Although you're probably quaking, super sweaty and stuff. Oh, yay. Okay. Schmicky says we've only had one real argument in our 10 years. We call it our relationship 3Cs: communication, compromise, and compassion. LML. I just did a funny MS Paint presentation to a younger friend of mine and his new girlfriend. Haha. Siri's staring into your soul right now. You looked away. There he is. He's back. He's saying, don't fuck this up, bro. You set the standard today. The pressure will be off next year because you've already done something this year. So you just gotta make this one count because marriage has to be mildly different than you guys being together. Or maybe it doesn't. I don't know your relationship. But I believe in you. It sounds like that's a healthy perspective. I am a little argumentative, so I would not be like that. But I think communication can be mildly sassy sometimes, and that's okay. Still communication. Oh, it's nice kitty. No, it's me, evil kitty. Yeah, that's Siri. He is kind of evil like that. He has really sharp claws, and he'll get you. He will hook into you. And he's really sassy. If he doesn't want to be pet, he'll just run off with you. And he doesn't like to be picked up a lot. He comes to you when he wants stuff, but he's very playful. And there's Ollie. Ollie Bobs. Hello. Hello, Stinky Boy. Can I say hi? Wow, there's my Ollie. You're such a good boy. George is seriously staring into my eyes and give. He's saying, stare into my eyes and give me snacks. He's waiting for the snack too. I had to move the treats to up on my deck cabinet or whatever, and it's hiding up there because he kept knocking everything down. The minute he saw me put it there, he's been like, treats, treats, treats. He really likes to rub his face on the ground. That's what he's doing right now. Anyways, Shmiki says, my parents have an orange cat with a white tuxedo for a pattern and lots of stripes. Oh, and his tail is always curled up like a lollipop, and his name is Curly Fries. Oh my god, you are American! That's like the most American shit I've heard. Oh, how's the grass doing in the aquarium? Ha ha ha, nah. I have to take a picture. I do need to clean it out quite a bit. I could probably take one. Hi, Ollie. Lots of pets. Let me go take a picture. Let me take a picture. Here we can observe what they get. Do you have any other pets though, Shmiki? So many plants. I just know the air in there is crisp. I have. um, that's not even all of them. It's just some of them. It's pretty bad. Anyways, I have lots of plants. I work with plants. That's what I originally went to school for. So right now I'm having a little bit of an algae bloom, but it makes sense because I don't have any snails in there. I am going to put some snails in there soon, but right now this is what it looks like. Oh shit. Oh shit. Maybe I need to turn the brightness down a bit. There we go. Oh my god, that's not even better. Wait, hold up. The brightness just auto corrects. You see that, chat? That's. Oh my god! Stop it! Okay, auto brightness. You got the idea. You got the idea. It looks. Fuck my life. It looks good. George says, okay. Shriky says, OMG, is that a room in your house or are you in the garden section of Home Depot? It's a room in my house. I have lots of trees though, and lots of plants. I have more in my other parts of the house. Um, most of my windows are full. Like, obviously, I have to like cover these because it's more of a sound thing than like a light thing. But yeah, Shmiki says I got to go for now, but thanks for the chat and thanks for the sub, George. Oh yeah, I'll probably see you around. Also, thank you for your pew pew input. It was actually very helpful. And you better treat your wife good tomorrow, or I will haunt you in spirit. I will haunt you. I will astral project out of my body and haunt your fucking ass if you don't treat her fucking right. Just saying. Hopefully I can catch you guys again sometime. I'm here every day. You're almost every day. Bye. I treat her good every day. You better. You fucking better. Don't be a trash man. Don't be a trash man. Or I will be disappointed in you. Just fucking saying. I don't tolerate disrespect towards the ladies. Support women's rights and women's wrongs. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Okay, y'all. Y'all. I should ask Andrew how long till food. Hey, beef. Beef. How long? 10 minutes. Yeah, 10 minutes, my babes. Probably like 5. I'll have to go a little bit early to help him with the final part of it, but yeah. That was cute. I'm very satisfied. That was fun. We also had a very productive thing. I got some more notes on my gum control paperwork and stuff, so that's really nice. I love taking new ideas from things. It's really fun. I don't like rules. But I like the thought experiments that come with rules. That's like my shit. It is so fun to like try to like iron things out and come up with solutions. I'm very solutions oriented. It's only caused problems in a lot of my like interpersonal relationships. Ugh. I guess I like shiny. I don't got no shiner. God, that's such a bad joke. You tell I'm getting tired. I'm kind of tired of blues. I'm so excited for Hollow Knight tomorrow. Holy crap. I want to play for at least like 2.5 hours tomorrow. Maybe 3 or 4. I low-key might start playing super early and just eat snacks and then just play Hollow Knight. I hope it's fun. Also, I don't know why my brightness kept adjusting. It's really annoying. I have it set. I guess I need to go back in my settings and fix it because it's like being a butt. Oh. Anyways, we covered a lot of stuff today. Oh, is there anything? Do you guys like the current events thing that we've been doing lately? I know not everyone's here, but I've been kind of curious about the mood and if you guys really enjoy it or if it's like, eh. Or says I should be here tomorrow. Heck yeah, you might like. I think you might like this game. Also, I hope you do get time with your family. That is important to me. I won't like ban you or whatever and be like, go hang out with your family instead, but you know. But do you like the more like political kind of social talks or whatever? Or do you prefer it if we stick to other things instead? You're okay with current events? Cool. I do like to do history when I can, because a lot of the time current events is parts of history stuff too. But it's sometimes hard to find good videos that describe the past in like a way where it's super relevant. It's usually like 10-15 minute sections that are the best. If I have like a 5 hour long broadcast or something like that, which eventually I might be able to do, I'll probably go a little bit longer, like 6 hours. That's my goal. If I ever had this be like my job or whatever, but if I had time, I would like to have like longer segments if I do get to stream like that. It's not like that is my goal with streaming, but if I like to have possibilities. So if that ever becomes a thing, I want to stream for about that amount of time. And then we could really like dive into stuff, especially as it happens, which we don't really get an opportunity to do with my schedule as of now. Maybe in the future though. Maybe, maybe. Maybe. I'll have to wait and see. Mai, Mansur Muskila. Sure. I call them all that. Like all the cats I interact with. It's a birthday lady, and I call them Madam Mushkila. How's Mai doing? He had a rough day today, but that's because when we took his food away, he decided to come in here and try to eat plants instead, which made him sick. But he didn't throw up his medication. Because after we give him meds, we have to hold off for a little bit on the food so it can like settle and digest properly. And he gets hungry because it's usually around when we feed him. So he likes to eat plants and make direct eye contact with me as he's doing it. And I'm just like, bro, what the fuck? And then I feed him after. So there's like a TikTok that I filmed today, like right before work, and I didn't. It's so annoying because in TikTok you have to be in the app for it to upload, so you just kind of have to let it sit. So the longer the video, the longer you have to sit there and wait for it to process. So it didn't upload until later on, and it was like my response one. So I was like in the comments like, "Hey, I just uploaded this thing," and then it didn't actually get released until like an hour and a half later. So I was like, "Oops." But yeah. It was like 2 or 3. I don't remember how long. It was like a couple hours later. But yeah, I was like, I had to keep pausing. And then eventually I was like, fuck it. This is the one that I am posting because I've said this like 3 times and I don't have time to like say it all over again. Mr. Sticky Neons. You're so cute. Yeah, but he's been a lot more playful again. He's been talking more, which is really good. We get really stressed when he doesn't talk a lot. He's a chatty boy. He talks all the time. So when we go out and when I'm like, and he doesn't respond back, it's like concerning. You want a piece? He wants me to go feed him, but I have to give him more meds again. So when I stream, that's when we have to like fast him for like 2 hours. He's back. Whoop, 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 whoop. But we have to have him fast for 2 hours before we get him drugs. Don't eat my money. Now he's purring and kneading my leg. Are you gonna be weird, or you want the pets? Hey yo, don't put your butthole in my face, bro. It's kind of weird. I can write that. I don't know why cats always put their buttholes in your face. They're just like, here, sniff my asshole. And I'm just like, bro, that is not my thing. No, it's not. Oh, he's laying down. Yeah, but when he's not snuggly and he's not really talkative, then we're just like, okay, something's going on. But he's been back to normal, which is really nice. Hi, baby. I think I might go get snails soon. Maybe tomorrow, but maybe not. Hey, Ollie. Cats do that to show you that they trust you. Yeah. Oh, baby. Oh, Ollie just finished eating, so he's really happy. Are you happy? Are you happy, Stinky Bud? Is that better? Yeah, my baby. You good boy. Oh, wow. You want pets too. Okay, both my boys. All the boys are in this room. We got Siri, we got Ollie, and we got Mama. You can't see Siri right now. And Bixby's watching from afar. She's like, love me, love me, love me. Hi, Buffy. You stinky butt. Yeah. You're a good boy. Yeah, we should do cool. I don't know, all my pets are like very needy. They're always needy when I stream though. They're just like, this is when we know you're gonna be sitting and we know you're gonna give us love. In my mind, do you wanna say, I should probably get going, Chad. So we're gonna have him say goodbye. Oh, he's so warm. Do you see Ollie? He's upset that I stopped petting him. Okay, but oh, you went over to meet the new puppy you got your sister today? Do you tell me? Do you tell me? Do you know what kind of dog it is? Please tell me. Well, Sandy's coming in too. There you go. She's rubbing on the walls. She'll like rub on the door frames after she eats. Ollie rubs his face on the ground. Sandy rubs on the door frames. And then my has like the very several times after he finishes eating. He's so. I hope that you had a good time with the puppy. No, it's a mix of some different dogs. She looks like a foxy. That's so cute. So it's that puppy. She'll probably grow into herself. Like, some German Shepherds or like Shepherd mixes, they look kind of like what do you call it? Like kind of foxy till they grow into themselves. They're so cute though. I love him so much. Ah! I'm so allergic, isn't you? Big ears and long legs with a long tail. Yep. Do they kind of stick up too? Is it a darker, or you said it was red? My is the man. I know. And then there's Bixby. She came in because the dogs left. See, I know he feels better because he's more snuggly. I've been so worried. Today he's been back to like more snuggly. Yeah, the ears stick up. Yeah, definitely has some shepherd in him. IMO. Could be wrong, but I don't think I am. I think there's at least a bit. Like Australian shepherds, they have like the big ears that kind of stick up. They're like radars, you know? Okay, okay, guys. Okay, okay. I got to go. You're gonna have to tell me more about the dog tomorrow too, and give him treats, give him like carrots or something for me. Night, Josie. See you later. Oh, yay, good night. So, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. Today was an oddly productive conversation, although we talked about almost 2 hours. So, yay. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you guys have a wonderful today. Tomorrow we're playing Hollow Knight. Maybe there'll be some current events if anything crazy happens, but probably not. So sleep well, stay safe, stay alive, and toots!